Welcome to the Bar Exam Toolbox podcast. Today we are walking through an MEE question on partnerships. Your Bar Exam Toolbox hosts are Allison Monahan and Lee Burgess. That's me. We're here to demystify the bar exam experience so you can study effectively, stay sane, and hopefully pass and move on with your life. We're the co-creators of the Law School Toolbox, the Bar Exam Toolbox, and the career-related website Career Dicta. Allison also runs the Girls Guide to Law School. If you enjoy the show, please leave a review on your favorite listening app and check out our sister podcast, the Law School Toolbox podcast. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can reach us via the contact form on barexamtoolbox.com, and we'd love to hear from you. And with that, let's get started. Welcome back. Today we are walking through an agency and partnerships question. This is another in our series of podcasts talking about how to approach questions on the UBE. And don't forget to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss any upcoming essay discussions. Today's essay is labeled as an agency question, but it deals exclusively with partnership law. This is a very rule-heavy area of law, and we have a rule-heavy question, which can make deeper analysis tricky. Before we walk through today's question, we need to do a quick review of the law you want to know for this question. You might analyze this under either the Uniform Partnership Act, the UPA, or the Revised Uniform Partnership Act, the RUPA. Fortunately, the UPA and the RUPA are pretty similar on these issues, and I'll reference rules from both as appropriate. For today's question, we'll need to know the rules governing a partner's withdrawal from the partnership and the dissolution of that partnership. This can be roughly divided into 3 stages: when and how a partner may withdraw, the effect of a partner's withdrawal, and the rights and duties of partners following a partner's withdrawal. When and how a partner may withdraw. Under the RUPA, a partner may withdraw at any time by giving notice. That partner is disassociated from the partnership when the partnership receives notice of that partner's express will to withdraw. A partner may withdraw from an at-will partnership at any time. A partnership agreement may make such disassociations wrongful, but it may not eliminate this right. Partnerships are deemed to be at will unless the partners agree that the partnership is for a particular undertaking or for a set period of time. When a partner withdraws from an at-will partnership, it causes dissolution of the partnership unless the remaining members vote to continue. Now on to the effects of a partner's withdrawal. Under the RUPA, a partner's withdrawal from an at-will partnership triggers dissolution of that partnership, and then the partnership must be wound up. Under the UPA, a partner's withdrawal dissolves the partnership, and any partner has the right to have the partnership wound up. Under both the UPA and the RUPA, the partnership continues until wind-up is completed. Lastly, on to the rights and duties of partners following withdrawal. Following dissolution, during the wind-up process, partners who participate in the winding up continue to have fiduciary duties to the other partners and the partnership. Partners have a fiduciary duty not to appropriate partnership opportunities, and this duty continues during winding up. During winding up, partners have a fiduciary duty to account to the partnership any benefit they receive from partnership opportunities. A partner who learns of a partnership opportunity may not appropriate that opportunity either during the wind-up or after the partnership term ends, unless that partner shares the opportunities with his or her co-partners. Partners have a continuing duty of good faith and fair dealing during wind-up. Note that I didn't cite any provisions of the UPA or RUPA by section number. If you have the type of memory that allows you to memorize thousands of laws and their corresponding code sections or case law citations, then more power to you. But on the UBE, it is far more important that you know the law than that you know what the citation is. Now, normally we'd have to review agency law too, but this question doesn't have many agency law issues in it, actually. And that's a lesson too. Even if the subject area is called agency and partnerships, don't address agency issues that aren't there. All right, now let's move on to reading the bar exam question. This is a question from the February 2018 bar exam. We will link to a webpage where you can find this question in the show notes. Ready? Here we go. A man and a woman were equal partners in a neighborhood natural food store. The store has been at the same location for many years and had developed a loyal following. Under their informal agreement, the man had managed the business and the woman had supplied capital to the business as needed. They leased the building in which the store was located and regularly sought to purchase the building for the partnership, but the landlord always refused. 6 months ago, however, the landlord called the man and said, "I thought you would want to know that I'm planning to sell the building." The next day, the man sent the woman an email. "I am leaving our partnership. I will wind up the business and send you a check for your half share." Without informing the woman, the man then contacted the landlord and offered to buy the building. The landlord accepted, and the two entered into a binding purchase agreement. 1 month later, the man took title to the building. 3 months ago, the man sent the woman a check for half of the store's inventory and other business assets. Instead of cashing the check, the woman sent the man an email saying that she regarded the partnership as still in existence and demanded that the man convey title to the building to the partnership. The man replied that their partnership was dissolved and he had moved on. He then began to operate the store as a natural food store with a name different from that of the original store, but the same product offerings and the same employees. The woman has sued the man for withdrawing from the partnership and from breaching his duties by buying the building from the landlord. Number 1. Did the man properly withdraw from the partnership? Explain. Number 2. Assuming that the man's withdrawal was not wrongful, was it the legal effect of the man's withdrawal from the partnership? Explain. What duties, if any, did the man breach by purchasing the building? Explain. All right, now this is a type of question that you sometimes run into that is a little light on the facts. It's short, and there aren't a whole lot of facts of legal significance for us to identify. In situations like this, it's often a good indicator that your answer will either have to do a really deep analysis on a discrete issue and maybe a couple of facts, or else you'll have to recite a whole lot of law. This exam question is going to present us with a little bit of both types. Now, the first thing you should do is mark up your exam paper to assess what is legally significant about each fact in the fact pattern. So let's talk about the facts. A man and a woman were equal partners in a neighborhood natural food store. The store had been at the same location for many years and had developed a loyal following. So this tells us that we have a partnership and what type of business it is. This is going to be important later. Under their informal arrangement, the man had managed the business and the woman had supplied capital to the business as needed. Now, 2 things about this are significant. First, this mentions an informal arrangement, which means that there's no partnership agreement to interfere with the statutory language. Second, it tells us what each person did. The man managed the business and the woman provided the cash. They leased the building in which the store was located and had regularly sought to purchase the building for the partnership, but the landlord had always refused. This tells us that as a partnership, the man and the woman had wanted to purchase the building. 6 months ago, however, the landlord called the man and said, "I thought you would want to know that I'm planning to sell the building." This tells us that the landlord called the man when the partnership was still in existence to notify him that the building was for sale. Because the man had been managing the day-to-day, it was totally reasonable for the landlord to mention this just to the man as a representative of the partnership. The next day, the man sent the woman an email. "I am leaving our partnership. I will wind up the business and send you a check for half your share." This is a 2-person partnership, and there's nothing to indicate that this isn't at will. So this notification should be enough for the man to disassociate and dissolve the partnership, right? Without informing the woman, the man then contacted the landlord and offered to buy the building. The landlord accepted and the two entered into a building purchase agreement. 1 month later, the man took title to the building. This happened after the man disassociated, but before he had wound up the business. The woman can easily argue that this was a partnership opportunity, and the man still had a fiduciary duty to the partnership. 3 months ago, the man sent the woman a check for half of the store's inventory and other business assets. This check only covers the assets from the time of the email, but does not include the purchase of the property during the winding up process. It also doesn't include any estimation of goodwill when you consider the last fact. Instead of cashing the check, the woman sent the man an email stating that she regarded the partnership as still in existence and demanded that the man convey the title to the building to the partnership. The man replied that their partnership was dissolved and that he had moved on. Now, this is our major point of conflict. The woman wants the partnership to remain with the building ownership, and the man does not. He then began to operate the store as a natural food store with a name different from the original store, but same products, offerings, and the same employees. Same product, same location, same employees. Well, that probably also means the same loyal customers and that the partnership was selling to previously. Now that we know that this is a question in 3 parts, and we know that those 3 parts correspond pretty closely with the 3 chronological events in the life and dissolution of a partnership. If we consider the facts chronologically, it helps us to understand which facts might be significant to which rules, and vice versa. As you begin to outline your answer for this question, be sure to, at a bare minimum, outline the different points of analysis that you'll have to address. If you do this, you'll find that question 1 and 2, although they require a lot of law, do not require much analysis. Question 3, on the other hand, has a point of law that will require some deeper discussion. So be sure to allocate your time accordingly. This is why we always plan before we write. So let's look at how to actually answer this question. You would start any outline or answer by breaking your paper into segments. Here, 3, 1 for each question. Normally, you'd have to consider both agency and partnership, but as we discussed earlier, there really aren't any agency questions here. So first, did the man properly withdraw from the partnership? Explain. Number 2, assuming that the man's withdrawal was not wrongful, what was the legal effect of the man's withdrawal from the partnership? Explain. And number 3, what duties, if any, did the man breach by purchasing the building? Explain. Let's begin at the beginning and look at each question separately. Question number 1. The issue is whether the man properly withdrew from the partnership. Note that this issue is just the question turned around, which makes it really easy to state. Under the RUPA, a partner may withdraw from an at-will partnership at any time by giving notice of express will. A partner is disassociated from the partnership when the partnership receives notice of that partner's express will to withdraw. A partnership agreement may make such disassociations wrongful, but it may not eliminate the right to withdraw. Partnerships are deemed to be at will unless the partners agree that the partnership is for a particular undertaking or for a set period of time. When a partner withdraws from an at-will partnership, it causes dissolution of the partnership. So our analysis here is that there's no indication that they had a partnership agreement or that they had an agreement to limit their partnership to a specified term, so they created an at-will partnership. The man's email to the woman read in part, "I am leaving our partnership," which was an unequivocal statement of his express will to withdraw. Now, even if there were a partnership agreement that made such disassociation wrongful, it could not have eliminated the man's right to withdraw in this way. So our conclusion is the man likely properly withdrew from the partnership. On to question number 2. The issue is the legal effect of the man's withdrawal from the partnership. Our rule here is that under the RUPA, a partner's withdrawal from an at-will partnership triggers dissolution of that partnership, and the partnership must be wound up. Under the UPA, a partner's withdrawal dissolves the partnership, and any partner has the right to have the partnership wound up. Under both the UPA and the RUPA, the partnership continues until wind-up is completed, and the partner's rights and duties continue with the partnership. So our analysis here is when the man disassociated from the partnership by email, it triggered the dissolution of the partnership, which required under the RUPA or permitted under UPA wind-up. The man exercised his right to have the partnership wound up and to participate in the winding up. However, the man's fiduciary duties to the partnership and to his partner did not cease upon dissolution and continued during the wind-up. Question number 3. The issue is whether the man breached any duties by purchasing the building. Our rule here is that under the RUPA, partners participating in the winding up continue to have fiduciary duties to the other partners and the partnership. Our analysis here is although that the man properly withdrew from the partnership, he still owed fiduciary duties to his partner during the winding up process. The man offered to purchase the building and made plans to run his own store in the exact same location before he sent a final check to the woman. Now we have another rule here. Partners in a partnership generally have a duty of loyalty to the partnership and to the other partners, which prohibits a partner from appropriating partnership opportunities. If a partner wants to appropriate partnership money, property, or opportunities, he's got to disclose this to the partnership and the other partners. So, the application of this rule turns on whether the purchase of the business was a partnership opportunity. The partnership had tried to purchase the building on multiple occasions, and that they had been operating their store in that location for many years. When the landlord reached out to the man, he probably was contacting the man as a representative of the partnership, rather than in his individual capacity. The man may argue that this was not a partnership because all negotiations took place after the partnership was dissolved, but because he continued to run the same type of store with the same employees in the same location, the court's unlikely to look favorably on this argument. The man did not give his partner notice that the building was for sale or that he'd been contacted by the landlord. So the conclusion here is that the man probably breached a duty of loyalty by taking advantage of a partnership opportunity in his own capacity, especially without giving the woman notice of the partnership opportunity. Now let's move on to the wind-up. During wind-up, partners have a continuing duty of good faith and fair dealing, which includes a duty to account to the partnership for any benefits they receive by appropriating a partnership opportunity. Here, the man was subject to fiduciary duties when he received the offer to buy the building, as well as when he actually purchased the building. The man did not factor the value of the building into his payment to the partner. So, in conclusion, the man did not adequately account for the purchase of the building when he conducted the winding up process. So he breached the ongoing duty of good faith and fair dealing. Okay, so remember, in rule-heavy questions like this, it's important not only to have memorized all of these rules, but also have them memorize them in their logical context. If it helps, think of these rules as sets of pyramids. Begin with the base of the pyramid, which is the broadest rule that applies, and work up the pyramid from there, identifying progressively narrower and narrower rules. This can help you make it through even the toughest rule-based question. And with that, we are out of time. I want to take a second to remind you to check out our blog at barexamtoolbox.com, which is full of helpful tips to help you prepare and stay sane as you study for the bar exam. You can also find information on our website about our courses, tools, and one-on-one tutoring programs to support you as you study for the UBE or California bar exam. If you enjoyed this episode of the Bar Exam Toolbox podcast, please take a second to leave a review and rating on your favorite listening app. We'd really appreciate it. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything. If you are still in law school, you might also like to check out our popular Law School Toolbox podcast as well. If you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to reach out to myself or Allison at lee@barexamtoolbox.com or allison@barexamtoolbox.com, or you can always contact us via our website contact form at barexamtoolbox.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk soon.